This is our presentation on Penny Vaunish-Chen's Satchmo Blows Up the World, Jazz Ambassadors Play the Cold War by Nicole and Joanna. Penny Mary Vaunish-Chen is an American historian and professor of history and professor of American Studies at the University of Virginia. She is known for her works on American and African American history, American diplomacy, the history of music, and their connections with decolonization. Vaunish-Chen's book on trumpeter Louis Armstrong and the Jazz Ambassadors program of the United States Department of State, Satchmo Blows Up the World, Jazz Ambassadors Play the Cold War, was first runner-up for John Hope Franklin Publication Prize for the Best Book in American Studies in 2005. A fun fact, she was also an assistant professor of history at the University of Texas at Austin from 1996 to 1999. Satchmo Blows Up the World, Jazz Ambassadors Play the Cold War was published in 2004 and it was met with mainly positive reviews. Many praised it for revealing a hidden history of the Cold War, of how US utilized jazz as a weapon. I found this quote and it says, "In this bold and brilliant book, Vaunish-Chen exposes a hidden history of the Cold War while teaching lessons about links between art and politics that have tremendous relevance for the troubled present and for the foreboding future," by George Lipsitz. Other reviews were also very positive and praised Vaunish-Chen of highlighting how jazz was used during the Cold War. So Brian Morton says that Satchmo Blows Up the World is a fine contribution to the growing literature on the broader contours of Cold War cultural politics, but what comes across even more strongly is the flagrant paradox of marginalized people sent abroad to sing the praises of the very country that marginalized them. Perhaps even more than the Americanization of global culture, the enduring legacy of Cold War musical diplomacy was the internalization of jazz. Martin Levin also says, a fascinating account of how U.S. State Department tried to win the Cold War by appealing to hearts, minds, and souls around the world through its great jazz musicians. And since most of the musicians were black, it created the impression of a country where racism was not an issue.
In this chapter, von Esching makes the argument that Louis Armstrong was an activist who used his position to help fight for racial equality. Von Esching explores three core themes throughout the chapter: the shifting meaning of democracy, the contradictions between home and abroad, and the agency of black musicians and their various audiences in interpreting the music and its politics according to their own agendas. These are two quotes from the chapter that I thought really portrayed these themes. Jazz artists who had participated in the tours had experienced firsthand the uneasy juxtaposition of the arts and less than transparent foreign policies, and the ironies of the export of jazz ambassadors at a time when America was still a Jim Crow nation and civil rights activists were faced with violent resistance and the inaction of the federal government. This is a clip of the song "They Say I Look Like God" that was performed during the musical The Real Ambassador. This was a song that received the praise of being moving and daring and was considered by critics to be one of the most moving moments in Monterey's history. This was one of the songs that critics praised Armstrong for his ability to turn lyrics that were meant to get a laugh into pathos. Lots of people found the way that Armstrong sung the end of this song really moving.
God created man in his image and likeness.
They said I look like God.
In the image of God created he them.
Could God be black, my God?
In the image of God created he them.
If all are made in the image of thee,
Male and female created he them.
could thou perchance a zebra be?
In the image and likeness of God
Can it be?
created he them.
No, not he.
These are the generations of the heavens.
He's watching man, he's really free.
He that loveth God loveth his brother also.
Really free.
He that loveth God
Really free.
loveth his brother also.
This is another one of Louis Armstrong's songs that he sung while on tour abroad. I think this song really shows the contradictions he was experiencing between home and abroad. In this song, Black and Blue, Louis sings about the repressions and segregation of blacks. Some of the lyrics like, I'm white inside, but that don't help my case, and my only sin is my skin, portray that despite Armstrong being famous and acting as an ambassador for the United States, he still relates to the repression and racism that he sees when he is on tour in Africa.
Cold empty bed, springs hard as lead, feel like golden dead, wished I was dead. What did I do to be so black and blue? Even the mouse ran from my house. They laugh at you, scorn you too. What did I do to be so black and blue? Yes, I'm right inside. That don't help my case, 'cause I can't hide what is in my face. But those I say, how would it end? Ain't got a friend. My only sin is in my skin. What did I do to be so black and blue?
We connected this chapter to these two of our past readings. Why the Shirelles Matter talked about how African American women were the first to break into the girl group music scene. Because of their stereotype of being more sexual, whites found it more acceptable for them to be the first to come out and express their sexual desires. Therefore, similar to how whites turned to Louis Armstrong to be an ambassador for the United States, white women turned to these African American girls to act as an ambassador and leader for women during this time. I think it's interesting that, despite there still being a lot of segregation and racism in America at the time, whites were turning to black musicians to help advance their needs. This reading on Louis Armstrong differed from the reading of the New Negro. In the New Negro, the argument was made that whites essentially killed blacks' blues music by taking the tunes and changing it into rock and roll and marketing it towards a white audience. In The Real Ambassador, however, whites celebrated and appreciated Louis Armstrong and jazz music, and even used it as a symbol for America overseas.